Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is once more your main Bob Knob, Dark Wild Card. Welcoming you to a video, an ASMR video on my favorite horror movies as well as some trivia from them. I have here Trivial Pursuit Horror Edition for 100 years of horror movies. Feel free to give your guesses in the comments section of YouTube as to what these answers are. In The Mummy, the original one in 1932, what actor played the titular character? In 1986's The Fly, what giant creature does Veronica dream she gives birth? What actor played the iconic monster on Frankenstein in 1931? What is the name of the princess whom Helen is the reincarnation of in The Mummy in 1932? And in Dead of Night in 1945, how many separate directors had there been? Here we have my all-time favorite horror movie, The Mask of Red Death. This was based loosely upon the works of Edgar Allan Poe, the undisputed master of horror in literature. It starred the master of horror in cinema, Vincent Price, and it was directed by one of the all-time greats, Roger Corman. Rest in peace, all three of them. This I had first seen on Turtle Classic Movies on Samhain itself, the original name of Halloween at midnight. And so, given that, as well as who had starred in it and what was written based upon the writings of, and directed by, it was the ultimate horror experience for me. And I've made a tradition of watching this every midnight. So we're never since for a few years now. In this, Vincent Price plays the Prince Prospero, who attempts to escape Red Death, thinking that he is immortal, thinking that he is invincible, only for Red Death to claim him. This too is based upon the works of Edgar Allan Poe. These also star Vincent Price. Edgar Allan Poe's Tales of Terror, The Pet and the Pendulum, and The Raven, based upon Poe's masterful poem. Split in the Pendulum actually was based loosely upon the events of the Spanish Inquisition and serves as true terror to just how unhinged Poe's mind could be. Unhinged in a way that I admire. The pendulum would be brought down slowly. It thankfully didn't happen in real life, but brought down slowly. This remake of The Mummy was made, I believe, in 2000, or was it 2001? Let me see here. It doesn't seem to say. That's odd. Because sworn there was a way of knowing. But yeah, this is a remake of the original Tomb of the Dragon Emperor, it's called. And this was more an action movie than horror, but I admire it nonetheless. It was definitely a very good remake, as I see it. One of the few times in which I see a remake as good, but that's just me. This is a very good horror movie indeed. This is The Sounds of the Lambs. This was one of the few times, in fact I think the only time, in which a horror movie actually won a Academy Award for Best Picture, the highest of the Academy Awards, because that's for everything encompassing the entire movie. This stars Anthony Hopkins as the lunatic Dr. Hannibal the Cannibal Lecter. And it is a sort of semi-slasher, if you will. Not really so much about the blood as it is about suspense, which makes it more enjoyable to me. I've never seen really blood for the sake of blood as being all that scary. But this is a very good one. This is a movie in which a serial killer known as Buffalo Bill by the media, they don't know his real name, is on the run, and they enlist Dr. Lecter as attempt to catch the killer, believing that since he is a psychiatrist, he would know how the mind of a serial killer might work, given the fact that he is also one himself as well. And this is also where I use, where I get the idea for some of my voices in games of doing, when I do this voice like this is meant to be in Hannibal Lecter's voice, because I have played some games that have included various unhinged kinds of characters, and so yeah, that's where that comes from. A modern day classic, eye-catching, I would guess would be the better term for this. Saw 10. This is the final installment, to the best of my knowledge, in the Saw series, though I've heard there's plans on making an 11th one. This goes back to the original kinds of Saw movies, 1 and 2, that I thought were the best. 3 was also good, but 1 and 2 I thought were the best of the original ones. After that, sort of went downhill. This returns to that sort of formula in which the traps are escapable, and what it is John Kramer, or Jigsaw as he's called by the media, desperate for trying to have his cancer removed, travels to Mexico, and only to find out that his so-called cure was actually a scam created by con artists. And so he devises traps for them to try to change their ways and see the light that crime does not pay. I won't give away more than that, though, other than it takes place in between the events of Saw 1 and Saw 2. And here we have some true classics. 50 of them, to be exact. 50 classic movies from all the way back in 1922, spanning into the 60s, I believe. We have the original Nosferatu. We have Vincent Price in The Last Man on Earth, The Little Shop of Horrors from 1960. The original one. There was a remake done later in the 80s, 82 I believe it was, that I have yet to see. I have yet to see many of these, but I've always wanted to see Little Shop of Horrors. That too was directed by Roger Corman, a legend among legends, and that stars Jack Nicholson. It was done, to the best of my knowledge, in only filmed in only 2 days, I believe, something like that. Roger Corman was known for doing that kind of a thing, making movies on what was at the time a shoestring budget and in a very short amount of time, and for that he is a legend in the cinematic ways, as well as, of course, as I said, he is a legend in general in being a World War II vet. This I had purchased just recently. This is more of a comedy than a horror, and I've always wanted to see it because I love comedy. Comedy is my favorite genre, along with horror, in movies and in just anything, really. Books, games, movies, just about anything. And this, as you can see, is called The Ghost and Mr. Chicken. This stars Don Knotts, one of Hollywood's early greats in comedy. This is figuring the answers to a mystery lie in the old Simmons mansion. Luther Heggs, Don Knotts visits the estate of witching hour at midnight. Suddenly, sin and ghost, Luther writes a story which makes the front page news. Brings on a libel suit from the mansion's owner. When the trial judge orders an investigation and no operations appears, Luther is put into fraud. That is, until he and his devoted girlfriend team up to uncover the mystery of the hauntings and the true murderer in this timeless comedy classic. This was before the ratings system even existed, so this apparently is one of the old school kinds of classics. And I purchased this along with An American Werewolf in London. This, from what I understand, is both comedy and horror. This is apparently like a very, it's a cult classic, and apparently, from what I understand, this is like a campy kind of a thing. It says, blending the macabre with a wicked sense of humor, director John Landis. Oh, cool, from Animal House. He was the director of Animal House. Delivers a contemporary take on the classic werewolf tale and story of two American tourists who, while traveling in London, find their lives changed forever when a vicious wolf attacks them during a full moon. So this should be most interesting to see once I do see it. And finally we have Evil Dead 2. This is one of, I think, a trilogy, I think it was, of movies. Or it may have been just the two of them, I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure it was a trilogy starring Bruce Campbell as Ash. And this is directed by Sam Raimi, the same guy who made the Spider-Man movies. And this is also a kind of horror comedy sort of thing. This has Bruce Campbell as Ash. I forget his surname in the movie at the moment, but yeah, he uses like a chainsaw hand, if I remember correctly, and his boomstick, as he calls it, the shotgun, to ward off zombies. So yeah, if you dig what I'm doing, ladies and gentlemen, please consider subscribing. I'll sub back fairly well.